Loyalty can be your cage, and loyalty as well can also be a virtue. Now, this is the missing piece a lot of people are missing. We are loyal to other people, other things that are not serving us and that does not fit our energy, that does not fit the woman that we are becoming, but we are not loyal to ourselves. One thing that I have realized with suffering is that your soul, your spirit is telling you that there is an error in thinking. However, I decided to squeeze my energy. Let me manage, let me squeeze the whole of me, let me shrink me to fit that particular stage. And this was where I came up to a point that, oh my God, being loyal can be a cage. Everyone, my name is Titilayo 3.8 and welcome to another audio episode of The Becoming. So I am gonna be taking you deeper into my lessons and how I am becoming that woman, which is Titilayo 3.8, and how it is unfolding naturally. So I have a series on Spotify and on YouTube that you can go through, and this is me just taking you deeper through the ideas that are unfolding in being Titilayo 3.8, because I am already Titilayo 3.8. It's just unfolding naturally and I'm taking you through that process. This week, I called the hairdresser to book an appointment for me to come make my hair. And the hairdressers called me later on and said the day I want to come in, she's going to be away on holiday for a week. And I wanted to get my hair done with her before she goes away. So she suggested another day, but she said that day is fully booked, but she can squeeze me in because she's got an hour slot in between. But if I don't mind, I will just have to chill for another hour while she does the next client, and then she'll be able to continue with my hair. So I said, oh, okay, that's fine. As long as I can get my hair done before you go on holiday, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna, roll with it. So in my head, I thought, okay, in between that time, I'll just be working or do something or just relax and chill. To me, I thought that was a good idea because I was just so attached to the certainty that I am going to get my hair done and I'm going to get it done with my hairdresser. So I carried on and I went for my appointment. And then when I went in, she wasn't actually done. She told me to come at a particular time, but she wasn't actually done. Because I've been used to waiting, my standards, not really valuing my time and my energy, even though I came at the time that she said she will be free, and she wasn't free. When I got there, she was still doing the previous customer's hair, and she was like, oh, don't worry, this is going to be done quickly. That should have rang a bell, like ding ding, you are going to be delayed here, you are dropping your standards, this is not who we are, we did not plan it this way. So I thought, okay, don't worry, it's fine. I just asked her, are you sure you're going to be able to do my hair? She said yes. Okay, so I waited for another 30 minutes and then she started doing my hair, and then she had to stop because then the next booked appointment was here. So she said, oh, don't worry, it will be quick, it's just a pony, within an hour I'll be done. So I was like, okay, yeah, go ahead. So I started doing this hair for this other client of us, and an hour that I thought it was gonna take, it took 2 hours or more. But I was so surprised, and at that point, even though I did a little bit of work during that time, I got to a point that I was miserable, like sitting down, waiting, doing nothing. I tried to watch Netflix just to pass time, and even that whatever I was watching was not even making sense. I was just fast forwarding as usual. I was watching the polygamist, and yeah, not a good one to be quite honest, but a good one to pass time. And I just got to a point I was thinking to myself, why did I put myself through this suffering? Like, what is this? And I was just upset. And I started noticing the emotions rising within me. And I started questioning it. Where is this coming from? Why am I upset? And then I started looking at myself, okay, this suffering is self-inflicted because I put myself in this position. Nobody put a gun to my head and said, Titilayo, come for this appointment now or you're gonna die. I chose to put myself there. So I started thinking, why did I put myself here? She told me what the situation was gonna be, but in my head, I accepted it. Even though she said there was gonna be a 1 hour wait. Why did you think 1 hour wait was justified anyway for you to keep working? So I just kept asking myself all of these questions. That was when I realized the seed that was presented to me. Because one thing that I have realized with suffering is that your soul, your spirit is telling you that there is an error in thinking. So I started thinking to myself, this suffering is self-inflicted and there is an error somewhere. So I started thinking, where did this error come from? So this was when I started looking at my choices. What choices have I made? So I went back. Okay, I wanted to have an appointment at a certain time that was convenient for me. She said it was not available because she was going to be away, and I wanted to get my hair done at that particular time. So I started thinking to myself, firstly, she told me she was going to be away. But because I was attached to her and seeing her as the only person that understands my hairstyle, understands my hair, the certainty that came with just doing the hair with her, they make me move and they want me to experience other people because there were other hairdressers that I could experience. So number one, I was attached. My mind wanted certainty that my hair could be done this week and that she already knows me and we already know what the outcome and the experience was going to be. So that was those are two. Then the third one was that she told me that she could not fit me in. So there was no allocation that could fit my energy, my whole being to being service. However, I decided to squeeze my energy. Let me manage. Let me squeeze the whole of me. Let me shrink me to fit that particular stage whereby my energy was not fitting. So those were three things that came up and I was like, oh my God, is this what I have been doing? I don't just do this with the hairdressers. I do it with other aspects of my life. And I begin to see that a lot of people are also doing this in different areas, different variations of our life. And this was where I came up to a point that, oh my God, being loyal can be a cage. Because firstly, there were loads, abundance of hairdressers that I could use. However, because my mind doesn't like uncertainty, my mind likes to go with the familiar. The mind just restricts you. Even when the hairdresser says, I cannot fit you in, the mind blocked out all the other available opportunities and said, oops, we already know this way. We already know how it works. Let's manage ourselves. When God, the universe is saying, oh, Titilayo, there are plenty of hairdressers to pick from. There are numerous of hairdressers to pick from. The minute she said, I cannot fit you, just say, oh, okay, never mind. Maybe another day. Let me find someone that can fit my energy. But because of that certainty, I was like, oh, I would fit myself into something that is not meant for me. So I went for it. Because of loyalty, a lot of us, we are so loyal. We're so loyal to something that is not working. Like, for example, my previous hairdresser, I was with her for over 10 years. And even though I know that there were some certain styles that I like that she was not doing well, whenever I go to her, she's on the phone talking on my head, and I have to wait a very long time for it to happen. I was so loyal to her and using that loyalty as pride. I will not even go to any other hairdresser. I'm like, oh, I've been with my hairdressers for 10 years. She knows what I want. It was all lies, all lies. The mind has been playing on me to not experience something new. And every time I went to her, I was always preparing my mind. Oh, Titilayo, we're going to go through another suffering of waiting, another suffering of trying to explain the style to her over and over again. What if she doesn't get it right? My higher self was telling me all of this, but I did not listen. It's familiar. We know how it's going to work. We're going to correct. We're going to manage. And a lot of us are always managing our life in this way on a daily basis. For example, you've been going to that gym for 5 years, for 10 years, and in your head, you're saying to yourself, oh, I like that gym. I've been a member for 5 years, for 10 years, but you're not getting any results. So you just go and you keep doing it. Same old result, nothing is changing, but you are suffering in silence. Your higher self, your spirit is telling you, upgrade. This is no longer serving us, but we just cage ourselves to the suffering and we become loyal. A lot of us do that as well in our relationships, in our business. We stay with a certain friend, we stay with a certain partner just because we're familiar, but we don't even look that this is no longer serving me. I deserve better than this. A lot of us actually know that you deserve better than that. You know who you are, you know how powerful you are, but then you shrink yourself just the same way I was trying to shrink my energy. She said, we cannot fit you in, but I said, I will shrink my energy to fit me in. And a lot of us are doing that. We know we are powerful. We know those relationships that we are in, they do not deserve us. We deserve better. But then we shrink ourselves to fit in, just to maintain the status quo, just to belong, just to claim loyalty when we are actually suffering in silence. The thing is, loyalty can be your cage, and loyalty as well can also be a virtue. Now, this is the missing piece a lot of people are missing. We are loyal to other people, other things that are not serving us and that does not fit our energy, that does not fit the woman that we are becoming, but we are not loyal to ourselves. So you see, when that opportunity came and she told me that I cannot fit you in, am I not meant to remain loyal to myself and say, oops, she cannot fit me in? My energy is important. I am important. I'm meant to be loyal to myself and say, oh, I have to be loyal to me. I come first, and what would fit and match my energy, my frequency is what I should be after. But nope, what did I do? I abandoned myself. I was not loyal to myself, not loyal to my identity, and then I moved forward with her and trying to fit into another thing that was never mine to begin with. Now, a lot of us are still doing this every day in our decisions. A friend invites you over to a party and you know that you've got 1001 things to do that are so important to you, that is going to give you so much more. But then you abandon yourself just because you've been friends with this person for 20 years and you don't want to be seen as disloyal, that she's having an important party or celebration and you're not showing up. Then you decide to be disloyal to yourself and loyal to your friends when it's not serving you. And then you're going to go to that party, you are going to be suffering in silence, bracing yourself and say, oh my God, I really don't want to be here. You're going to start thinking about the things that you really wanted to do, how you're wasting time. Your mind is in two places. Now, this suffering is self-inflicted. You are now suffering in silence and thinking, oh, why is this happening to me? Now, because you are suffering in silence and you are now in a survival mode, you are going to start attracting things of its own kind. That's when in the party, someone is just going to offend you. Someone is just going to do something to you that mirrors what you are expressing at that time. And then you're going to suffer and say, so much insult I got at that party. Why is that person looking at me like that? Why did she even talk? What does she mean? Why did she talk? And then you come home, you're upset. You're thinking, why is life happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I went to this party just to be loyal to my friend and look at all I got back. Sis, you have all of everything that happened. It was your own doing. Nobody did it to you. You put yourself in that survival mode, and in that survival mode, you attracted everything of its kind to you as a seed. So that survival mode was telling you, sis, you're not meant to be here. This is not normal for us. God is giving you all that circumstances for you to remember, for you to think and say, you've made an error, let's correct. But then you come home. Instead of you thinking, how did I get here? How did I put myself in that position? You don't think that. You start thinking, why is this happening to me? This is the mismatch. This is where awareness is needed. And because of the work that I have been doing on a daily basis, whenever things fall out of balance, and it's not just rhyming with who I truly am, I know there's an error in thinking. I know that I need to correct. I need to check my positioning and realign myself and be loyal to myself. Self-awareness is so important. However, it takes some work to do. That is why I have the research strategy workshop where you can start seeing your patterns. Because I have been doing this work for so long, I could now start easily seeing my patterns where it is appearing. That when it comes up, I am resetting. Sometimes I catch it before it springs into life, and sometimes I don't, but when it does, I catch it immediately and it doesn't repeat itself. Wherever in the last maybe about 18 years ago, I have been repeating the same pattern. One pattern that I repeated so much has to do with friendship. Keep repeating the same type of friends with the same pattern. Keep thinking, why are these people coming to me? Why am I attracting friends like this? What is going on? Like, I kept repeating the same pattern until I realized and learned my lesson. And that was when I corrected it. And now I am now attracting the right kind of friends for me. It doesn't mean the pattern will not show up. The pattern will show up and test you because that's what has been programmed there originally. But I do not choose it anymore. When the old pattern comes up, I see it. I say, okay, I choose new. This is new. I choose the new pattern that I have installed. And the more I keep choosing the new pattern takes dominance over the old pattern. And before you know it, voila, it's just automatic. I'm operating, I'm working with the new patterns, which is bringing me what I want, because intentionally I've been choosing it, and because I have chosen it for a long time now, it's now automatic, and now I'm attracting something new and different to what I really, really desire. That is why my life reset workshop is a fantastic opportunity. It's a space where you can see your patterns, you can name it, you can see it clearly, and you can see how it's coming into your life on a daily basis so that you can change it. Because sis, you do not get what you want, you get who you are, you get what your beliefs are, the patterns that are running your life. So you can keep dreaming, keep putting all those goals and ideas onto your vision boards and affirmation, and keep doing the meditation and chanting and everything. Nothing will change, nothing will shift until you shift your beliefs, until you redesign your life by upgrading your identity to who you truly are. And that is by changing the patterns. The patterns are what forms your belief. And once you have done that, that is when your life really changes. So I'm going to go into the second part of this audio. The second part of this audio is about your value and your standards. So, with your values and your standards, from my example with the hairdresser, which was what brought about this inspiration, my hairdresser told me, I cannot fit you in. But because I have not yet upgraded my standards, I did not value my time, my energy properly. So someone tells me I cannot fit you in, you're gonna have to wait. When they brought that waiting as like you're gonna have to wait, I don't even like waiting. A lot of us don't like waiting. You just want to maybe book a slot, go in, get it done, come back, rest, whatever you want to do. But because I have not yet upgraded my standards in the value of my energy, what my energy could change into when I cage it, when it's static, I didn't value it. And in my head, I just thought, oh, I'm going to fit in work in there. Sis, you already know what your energy is like. And why do you think you're going to put in work into it? So Titilayo standards for how she uses her energy was low. She has not started seeing as energy as, something she has to manage properly. So basically, when I recently went through my research strategy workshop with some of my clients 2 weeks ago, I worked particularly on two desires that I really, really like and emotionally activate me. And the two of them was freedom and energy. To be very honest with you, energy has always been a bigger part of my life. I love energy. I love to have energy because with so much energy, I'm so much free. I'm so much activated. You get the maximum out of me. So having energy has always been a big deal for me. That's why I do not take my exercise lightly. I work out not because I'm trying to lose weight, because I want to keep up with my energy. I eat well so that I can have more abundance of energy. I rest so that I could get more energy. However, when I went through my reset strategy workshop recently, I realized that I am always working on increasing the energy, but I was never working on closing the leakage in my energy. And one of the ways that I wasn't closing the leakage was through my standards. So every time I'm giving this body so much energy, but the energy is being leaked out so quickly because my standards were low. And I started thinking to myself, this is one of the ways that I am leaking my energy. Don't have any standard or value to how I use my time and energy, feeding myself into a loophole that does not fit, and then my energy started leaking because I was suffering in silence. I realized that I need to start plugging those loopholes. That was when I started raising my standards, and I said to myself, never again. In fact, from that moment, I refused to stop calling the lady my hairdresser anymore. I said, Titilayo, you must refrain from calling something yours. It's not just yours. Just say the hairdresser. Have option, because when you say the hairdresser, it allows my mind to be open to abundance of other hairdressers, because she's not just yours. You can say, I am myself, I am me, but you are not any other person. Although we are all connected and we are all one, however, we are different versions expressing God in different ways, forms, and styles. So I raised my standard and said, never again. I'm going to experience other hairdressers, regardless of whatever the mind is saying. Immediately I said that, the mind started saying, oh, experiencing other hairdressers might be expensive, because you already have a particular way of dealing with it. I said, oh, I'm raising my standard and I am being loyal. I am Titilayo 3.8. Titilayo 3.8 lives in abundance. Okay, we can achieve anything we put our mind to do. So I raised my standard and I said, I am abundance. So I took back my power. I said, next time that happens, I'm looking for other hairdressers. And this is not just about hairdressers as well. This is about friendship as well. You call one friend to go out with them, but your friend cannot make it on that particular day. And because you've not upgraded your standard, you decide, oh, okay, I'll try and manage my energy and go out on the day that you are free so that we could have fun. And then you tie your energy so low. I'm not saying your friend is low, but because you've decided to tie your energy down, you have reduced the value. And these are one of the things that drains your energy. When there are different things draining your energy, you are reducing the value of your energy. So no matter how much energy you are receiving, it will not make much of a difference. What makes a huge difference is if the plus is just increasing. So for you to be able to increase your value, the plus always have to be increasing, not decreasing. What I used to do before was increase. There's so much minus that are draining my energy. So that is just one way that drains. Another way that drains our energy as high-achieving women and busy women is that we are always overthinking. We are thinking about decisions that we could have made in a minute. So, for example, someone is going to give you a service and they give you the price, but because the price that you've thought about in your mind is so different, but you really do want that service, you start overthinking it. Maybe they've quoted like 700 pounds or dollars to you, and the price that you really wanted to invest in that was like $500, and you start overthinking it. That overthinking is draining your energy. Why are you overthinking it? The reason why you're overthinking it is because your standard around pricing and what you deserve and what you don't deserve has not been raised. So you get into that in between. So because in your mind, so let me use myself, in my conscious mind, I say myself as Titilayo 3.8, but deep within me, I have not raised my standards to match up with Titilayo 3.8, I am still operating as my normal self. So what now happens? There is now tension, there is resistance, and then we're debating the amount. We're debating because consciously, this is where my price is. Consciously, I could easily achieve $700, but subconsciously, we're still here on the lower end. We've not raised it. So your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, they're fighting, they argue for power, and that drains energy. And a lot of people are doing that on a day-to-day basis. You say, oh, I'm eating well, I'm sleeping well, I am exercising, but I still feel tired. Sis, could this be one of it? For me, it is one of it, and I am cutting it down. And the way that I am cutting it down is by saying yes, no, or maybe immediately, not overthinking it. So immediately something comes to me, if it matches my identity of who I truly am, I say yes to it without overthinking it. Because the minute you start overthinking it, the mind takes control. So someone comes to me and says, oh, we want to go on holiday to maybe Italy, and it's always been my desire, it's part of my identity that I will go on holiday maybe 4 times a year or 3 times a year, and I want to go with friends. I want to be free, relax, enjoy. It's part of what I have programmed as how I see myself. And then the opportunity comes to me, I will just say yes immediately. I will not even think about how I'm gonna do it. I'll just say yes and accept it. And if it's an opportunity that is below my standard, and someone say, oh, we're gonna go to the pub, we're gonna go and drink cocktails, I'm like, no, immediately. I don't drink anymore. Drinking is not part of who I am. So that is no up for debate. And then maybe someone comes to me and they say, oh, we're gonna go on to 6 cities, and would you like to drive? That I would like say maybe. And that maybe is give me 4 days or 3 days or 2 days to think about the logistics of it. So 80% of me is already in there. I just need 20% to think about the logistics. So it does not mean that all of your decisions now are going to be maybe. The ones that I say yes to it because they match my identity, the minute I say yes to it, my mind is going to be thinking, oh my God, how can you make it? But at this point of me saying yes to it, I have to remain loyal. I have to say to myself, I've said yes to it because this is who we are. Okay, so what we need to do, we are not thinking of how we're going to make it. What we need to do is think of how we are now going to meet up with whatever we said yes to it, because your mind will try to take you back and say, oh, we cannot do that. Why have you said yes to it? Quickly go and change your mind. You cannot do that. So I said my mind, it's already certain that we are going. Let's start planning how we're going to get there. Okay, let's start aligning on the positions we're going to take so that we are getting there. Once you are certain in your mind drops the other, no, we can't, or this is who we were, and your mind start working on your new choice. The more you keep choosing with your identity of who you truly are, see, you are raising your standards. And then the more you keep doing it that way, like by having a precise decision for each thing, your standards are raising, your energy is increasing, your value, the value of your energy, your time is increasing. And when your value increases, your value is not just increased internally, it's also increased externally, because life is images of the mind expressed out. And when you have high internal value, there is no way for that high internal value not to be expressed, not to be seen. And when those high internal value are seen, the right people as well, or the right things and events that matches with that high value, they get attracted to you, and boom, all you start doing is high value, high standards, and sis, you are golden. Just before we go, I'm going to tell you something about gold, because a lot of people think gold is only valuable when it is being refined and is shining. No, the minute that gold is found in its rawness, oh my God, that gold is of high value. That gold is so valuable, whether it is expressed, whether it's been refined or not. Whoever captures its value and will keep it secure. So there is no way that you would have a raw gold stone in your house and then put that raw gold stone amongst other stones that have got no value. The minute you mix that raw gold stone with other rocks or stones that have got no value, you are decreasing the value gradually, because before you know it, that gold, I don't know, I've never studied gold, but maybe I'm just thinking of this psychologically, but I feel like that gold could start losing its value because no one would see it in the midst of that normal stones or rocks. The only way people will be able to see it and know it is that if it's been singled out, identified, even if it's not refined, but it's been singled out and identified and kept properly in a nice place, in a nice box. So say for example, you come to my home and then you see this rock, and I've kept it in a secured place in a glass container, and it's just there sitting. The minute you come in, you're gonna think that stone, even though I cannot see it shining, I know it's valuable. That is how we want to raise our standards. That is how we want to raise our internal value. Because once you raise your internal value like that, even if it's not refined, even if you're not expressing it, there is no way people are not going to see or know that you're of high value. So sis, that is my audio for today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next episode. If you're really learning a lot from this becoming, please give me a thumbs up and please leave a comment and say more, because this allows me to know that okay, we are moving towards the right direction. I would see you in my next episode. Ciao.